Here's a moment you've probably lived. You post something, a photo, a thought, a piece of work, and then you check your phone. Once, twice, 8 times in 20 minutes. You're not even conscious of doing it. Your hand just reaches for the device like it's breathing. Here's the thing though. What if that urge isn't a character flaw? What if needing to be seen and approved of is a piece of biological machinery that kept your ancestors alive for 200,000 years? Most of the conversation around approval seeking treats it like a disease. Like you're supposed to wake up one day completely self-sourced, immune to what anyone thinks. And when you can't do that, when you still feel that spike of anxiety before sharing something, or that quiet deflation when no one responds, you assume something is broken in you. The honest answer is more interesting than that. Humans evolved as a social species. For most of our history, being cast out of the group wasn't uncomfortable, it was fatal. Exile meant death, so your brain developed a monitoring system. Psychologists call it the Sociometer. It's an internal gauge that constantly scans the social environment for signals of acceptance or rejection. When the needle drops, your self-esteem drops with it. Not because you're fragile, because your brain still runs on software that equates social rejection with mortal danger. No one really explains this part. The issue isn't whether you need approval. You do. Everyone does. The issue is whose approval you've been asking for. And this is where it gets interesting. Let me show you what I mean through someone who lived this exact tension. Stan Lee was told no for years. He was writing comic books in the 1950s, disposable pulp for children. The industry had a formula: perfect heroes, clean morality, simple stories. Lee was bored out of his mind. He wanted to write characters with actual problems. A teenager who gets superpowers but still has to worry about homework and bullies and talking to girls. A team of heroes who don't always get along, who argue, make mistakes, carry grudges. His publisher said no. The market said no. The entire industry's approval system told him, stay in your lane. This isn't what comics are. Here's what Lee didn't do. He didn't stop wanting approval. He didn't become some enlightened figure who transcended the need for validation entirely. That's not how humans work. What he did was change who he was asking. He had a small circle: Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, artists who were inside the work with him. Their judgment mattered because they understood what he was trying to build. They weren't gatekeepers, they were collaborators. When Ditko pushed back on a panel layout, that wasn't rejection, that was calibration. When Kirby said an idea could work, that wasn't empty praise. That was earned validation from someone whose standards Lee respected. And then Spider-Man became one of the most beloved characters in human history. The Fantastic Four redefined what superheroes could be. The entire industry eventually came around. Not because Lee bent to what they wanted, but because he'd been right all along and they finally caught up. But pay attention to the order of events. The room's approval came last. It came after decades. If Lee had waited for the room to validate him before he started, there would be no Marvel Universe. There would be no Spider-Man. There would just be another writer who gave up. I keep coming back to this idea that people's words low-key define who we are. Someone tells you you're good at something, and you accept it. You lean into it. You build a version of yourself around the mirror they held up. And then you become afraid of that same person changing their mind. Afraid of them saying you got worse. Afraid of the mirror cracking. I've felt this. The things someone I trusted said about me that I carried for years, not because it was true, but because it came from someone whose voice mattered in my head. And I think that's the actual point. Not that we should stop needing approval, but that we need to be brutally honest about whose approval we've been treating as the final verdict. When I look at the people whose opinions actually shape me, it's not the crowd, it's not strangers online, it's my parents, my closest friends, the handful of people who know me well enough that their feedback isn't random, it's informed. They've earned the right to speak into my life because they've been in the room long enough to see what I'm actually building. The problem isn't that you care what people think. The problem is that you've been treating everyone's opinion as equally valid. You've been running a democracy where every stranger gets a vote on who you are. That's not humility. That's self-erasure. Here's what makes this biologically undeniable. Researchers at the University of Michigan studied something called contingent self-worth, when your sense of value depends on external approval. They found something counterintuitive. The pursuit of approval, when it's aimed at the wrong audience, doesn't just fail to deliver happiness. it actively damages you. Relationships deteriorate, autonomy collapses, even physical health markers decline. The boost from approval is real but brief. The drop from withheld approval is sharp and lasting. And here's what matters. This effect is independent of the actual outcome. It's not the rejection that breaks you down. It's that you allowed the rejection to speak for who you are. Your brain's sociometer was designed to monitor a tribe of about 150 people. People who knew you. People whose judgment was grounded in actual observation of your behavior over time. What it was never designed to handle was a world where 10,000 strangers can weigh in on your worth with a single tap. The mechanism isn't broken, the audience is wrong, so here's what to do about it. What to stop immediately. Stop treating every opinion as a data point. Most people's judgments of you are not based on careful observation. They're projections, moods, passing reactions. The stranger in the comments doesn't know what you're building. Their approval or disapproval is noise, no signal. What to start in the next 24 hours? Make a list. Write down the names of people whose approval actually matters to you. Not people you want to impress, people whose judgment you trust. People who know the work, know the context, know you. If the list is longer than 5 names, you're probably being too generous. The right people are few. What to expect? This will feel uncomfortable at first. When you stop asking the room for permission, the room will notice. Some people will call you arrogant. Others will say you've changed. What's actually happening is that you're no longer outsourcing your internal compass to people who were never qualified to calibrate it. Stan Lee didn't stop needing approval. He just stopped asking people who didn't understand the assignment. Your need for approval isn't the problem. It's a feature of being human. Being wired for connection, for belonging, for the kind of social feedback that actually makes us better. The problem is that somewhere along the way, you handed the microphone to the wrong room. Take it back. Not from everyone, just from the people who never earned the right to speak into your life in the first place.